Well, I hope he's coming right back. So I'm going to do number 4 then in chapter 7. Create an application named Convert Miles to Kilometers, whose main method, so it's a console program, prompts the user for a number of miles, passes the value to a method that converts it to kilometers, and then returns the value to main where it's displayed. A mile is 1.60934 kilometers. So we come in here, it's called Convert Miles to Kilometers. So File, New, Project. It'll be a console app. And I saved this so I wouldn't forget it. So it is Convert Miles to Kilometers. Can you look up here for a minute, everybody, regardless of what you're doing? Because James asked me this question yesterday. It's something I should have brought up at the beginning of the semester. I didn't. I'm saying I'm sorry in advance. See this thing right here that says location? I don't know about you, but to me that's a pain in the butt to have to change it all the time. So I'm going to show you how you can change it once and you should never have to change it again. All right? And the way that you do that is once you get into here, you click Tools and you go to Options, and it brings this up. All right? You go down, I don't know, where was it? You go to Projects and Solutions, which is near the top, and then you go and you bring your way down, and somewhere in there, there's Locations. See that? You click there. Once you set this, it should be set forever, unless you reset. So I'm going to go back and I'm going to change that from, source repos. I'm going to change that so it is at desktop. So there, you don't have to change the other ones. That's the template location, etc. All right. So now when I come in there and I do a File, New, Project, it should immediately bring me over to my desktop, which is what I want. All right. So again, I'm going to call this Convert Miles to Kilometers. All right. Here it is. I'm going to grab all of that text. Oops, and I stupidly made it a format, so let me get rid of that. Close that solution. If you ever do anything stupid like I just did, all right, and you don't want it anymore, you can literally just go back onto your desktop, which is where I saved that, and I've got now a Convert Miles to Kilometers on the desktop. There it is. I don't want it, so just highlight the folder and get rid of it. All right. If you get this, cannot be completed because the folder or file is open, then you may have to literally just quit Visual Studio. All right. So I quit, try it again, and it's gone. That was just stupid on my part, but it is what it is. So let me come in again and start up Visual Studio. All right, and come in and do File, New, Project, and I want to make sure I'm doing the right one. So I want a .NET Console app. Again, notice it's C:\users Rankin desktop. It's on my desktop. All right. And again, this was called whatever it was, convert something to something, convert miles to kilometers. There it is. So there that is. I like to put those prologues at the top of my page just to make sure I'm not missing anything. So I'm going to throw that up here. All right. So I've done that. I created the application. I think I gave it the right name. All right. So create the app. It's been created. The main method prompts the user. You know what? Before I even prompt, I'm going to come in here and it says a mile is this many kilometers. All right. So I'm going to come in here and I'm going to say const double kilos in a mile equals 1.60934. Didn't have to do that. No drug reference with kilos there. I just didn't feel like typing that much. So now main should prompt the user for a number of miles. All right. Remember, there's two ways we can do this. We can say double miles equals 0.0 and double, I'll call it MSTR for mile string, equals the empty string. That should be a string. All right. And then I can come in here and say, write, please enter miles. All right. And then say mile string equals read line. I'm getting those errors, so I've got to come back here. I can get rid of all these using statements. Just keep the one. And using static system.console. All right. So we're telling it to do that. Then I can come down here and again, I could run my isNumeric, right? And it probably would be a good idea to put that in. So if isNumeric, which we haven't written yet, and that's going to be what? That's going to be the mile string. All right. Oops, sorry about that. So you asked. That's the presentation right there. So all I got to do is throw it out on YouTube. All right. So if it is numeric, what do I want to do? Well, then I want to say miles equals that. I want to do a convert dot to double my mile string. And I'm taking for granted that by now that makes sense to everyone. All right. Now, I always forget how to write this thing. So it's going to be a static double isNumeric. And I'm going to pass in a string. It's going to be called input. It could be called anything in the world I wanted it to be called. So since I forget how to do it, I'm just going to grab one from a program I did previously. And I like that because I've done that before and people, well, that's cheating. Well, I wrote it. So it isn't cheating. Oh, let's see. It might work. There's isNumeric. Just copy all that. What's that? Oh, okay. There it is. Return double dot to parse. Yeah, it's way behind. There you go. So what did we do? We came through here. Just take it from the top. I came in and I created a constant called kilos in a mile. Set it to 1.60934 based off of what's right there in the requirements. Then I came in main and set up two variables, a double that's going to hold the mileage and a string that's going to hold whatever I key it, whatever I put in right here. I said, please enter miles. All right. Remember, had I done this, okay, and I'm going to get rid of this line right away, but I could have said miles equals, and then I could have said what? Convert dot to double MSTR. That would have worked as well. I'm not going to do that. right? Then I check to see whether or not it's numeric. All right, there's my is numeric function. Now, I'll come right back to it, but please look on the screen. What does it say here? All right, then I prompted for the user for a number of miles, and I want to pass that value to a method that will convert it to kilometers. So if it was numeric, now I've got a number I can pass. I'm not going to check for negative. I could do that, but I'm not going to check for negative. All right, I don't care for right now. All right, but I want to do that. So if it is numeric, then I want to convert it, and then I want to call I don't know, convert miles to kilometers. And I want to pass it in miles. All right. Now, I'm looking at that, and it says prompts the user for this, converts it, then returns the value to main. Okay. Then I want to say miles equals that. Now, that might look a little funny to you. You might say, wait a minute, you got miles both here and here. That's okay. That's totally fine to do that. All right, but I'm going to have to write this. That's why I'm getting, right now, that's why I'm getting the red squigglies. That should make sense to all of you. All right, so underneath here, I'm going to write static, and it has to return a double, and it's going to be this. And all I have to do is return miles. No. While you're doing it, this has got to be double. Times play computer. All right? Don't be that concerned with typing it in, but be concerned with understanding the logic. So we're coming in here at the beginning. We're telling the user, please enter miles. Then we're checking to make sure that that's numeric by calling this routine. If it's numeric, we're saying miles equal, now we can convert it, and we're passing it in to convert this. In fact, should I call that miles? Should I call that miles? That really isn't miles, is it? Isn't that kilometers? So I probably should create another variable here, a double, and I'll call it kilos, and set that equal to 0.0. Okay, a double called kilos, set that equal to 0.0, and then here, say kilos equals that. It's much cleaner. It's really the way it should be. It should have been done. So why didn't you do that like that in the first place? Because I didn't do a good enough job of reading the requirements. You know, tomorrow when you're taking this test, not only will you have the requirements, but you'll have a rubric that will tell you what each thing is worth. And the only reason I tell you that is if you are sitting there and you've got something that's worth a couple points but you can't get it, go on and try to come back to it. All right? So return miles times kilos in a mile. And what was I supposed to do next? So I created the app, main prompted, main passed, then it's now being returned. So it should be being displayed in main. All right? So I should be able to come in here now that I've done all this and say, oops, put in a write line. That says there are, I don't know, plus kilometers dot, boy, oh boy, should have been kilos. Not lilos. Kilos dot toString. We'll make it F2. So that'll say there are like 13.7 kilometers. In All right, let me run it, make sure it works. It says there's errors. Oh, I didn't put in my paren. That would probably help. Let's try it again. Please enter miles. 137.8. Just made that up. I forgot my read line. So I printed out something, and then it just went right off the screen. 137.8. There are 221.77 kilometers in 137.80 miles. Now, how do I know whether or not that's correct? All right, well, I can always come in here and just bring up the calculator and type 137.8 times, and then whatever that was. It was like what, 1.60934? I didn't? Okay. 34. So it'll be right, but it'll be off. So 22,000. Okay. The point is, you can always go back and check everything. So all I did was add a right line. That's it. That F2 said to print it as a floating point with 2 decimal places. All right. There are other ways that this could have also been done. Yes. Well, then make sure that here you spell it exactly the same way here that you spelled it up here. And the case has to be the same. So this right here, look, notice, if I double click on it, see how it puts it there? And it also highlights it here. This is, to me, one of the shortcomings of this book, because I don't understand why she didn't tell you to write 3 routines here. We could have written one routine where you inputted the information, and then another one that did our is numeric, then another one that did our calculation, then another one that printed it all out. She didn't do that. All right? Now, if you would please, you don't have to change anything, but please look up on the screen here. I'm asking you this question. Couldn't I have also done this? Couldn't I have just said double kilos right there, not given it a value? You with me? No value. Then come down into here and call this. Actually, I probably would have had to make all these global then to do this, but I could have done this. I could have come in here, instead of saying convert to double, I could have passed kilos in, oops, as an out parameter. Boy, oh boy. All I'm trying to tell you is there are a good dozen different ways that this program could have been written. All right? I do ask you on the test tomorrow that the only thing I want you to make global, is the array. Everything else is local. So you'll have to pass, if you're finding the biggest value or whatever, you'll have to pass that to a routine. And if you want to change it, I tell you to use ref parameters. So go back and look at ref parameters. Questions on this? I'll put the whole thing up here. So again, at the beginning, I created a constant, a double called kilos in a mile. Main declared 3 variables, a double called miles, a double called kilos for our kilometers, and a double called MSTR, which was our mile string. You know, again, I can go nuts here. Are there any questions on anything that's in here? Did you figure out what your error was? You know, in a really well-written program, and I'm not saying that's what this is. Again, your methods or your functions here, they'll all be just a few lines long each. That way, if there's a problem with it, there's only a few lines in that method you have to debug. So that's what you're looking to do. All right. So it's 9:50. You have 2 hours. The rest of the period will be lab. Tomorrow will be the test. I will probably end up on Thursday just doing both problems. Now, again, if anybody misses tomorrow, then I won't do it Thursday. All right. Hopefully no one's going to miss. We have one person missing today. Any last questions on any of this stuff? All right, that's all that I had.